Religion has always played a large role in human history. Even parts of our world are named after religious figures. This is without doubt most prominent in the Caribbean. Within the Caribbean Sea, there are some island nations that are named after saints of Christianity. Of course, anyone versed in the history of the Caribbean will have a pretty good understanding as to why so many of these island nations are named after saints. It of course all comes down to Christopher Columbus. He named so much of the New World, and these names are a relic of his time in the Caribbean. Columbus was a fiercely religious man, so it only makes sense that he would name so many places after saints. One article from Christianity Today delves into Columbus's religious views and says that he and his crew would finish each day by singing Vespers, and specifically mention that unlike many other sailors, Columbus never swore. To start with, we have the island nation of St. Lucia, which was named after St. Lucy of Syracuse. Little seems to be known of St. Lucy and her life, other than that she was killed during Christian persecutions in the early 4th century. By the 6th century, she was recognized by the church for her courage in defense of her faith. This also means that St. Lucia is the only country in the world to be named after a woman. Well, there's Ireland too, but that was named after a mythological woman. While just one country, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, is a nation of two names, with of course the part of the name we are more interested in being the St. Vincent part of it. Columbus named the nation after St. Vincent of Saragossa due to the fact that Columbus sighted the island on the 22nd of January, which is St. Vincent's feast day. I couldn't find too much on the latter part of the name, but it seems that the Grenadines part of the name comes from the city of Granada in Spain. If you look up a list of saints, you won't find any called St. Kitts, so how did we end up with a country called St. Kitts and Nevis? Well, while we don't have a St. Kitts, we do have a St. Christopher, and in the 17th century, Kitts was a popular nickname for Christopher, so while Columbus named the island St. Christopher, over time it simply became St. Kitts, and that name stuck with it through history. The Nevis part of this name, however, isn't too clear to us. It apparently comes from a Spanish Catholic phrase which means Our Lady of the Snows, though we aren't too sure why it was named this and who even named it. In fact, it's even debated if Columbus called St. Kitts that, with some believing he named it Santiago after St. James. One of interest is Dominica. Some sources point out that the island was named after St. Dominic, however others claim that Columbus didn't name this island after a religious figure, but rather a religious day. Sources claim that the name Dominica comes from the Latin term Dies Dominica, which means Sunday, as he first sighted the island on a Sunday. It must be remembered that the island nation of Dominica is a completely different country to the nation of the Dominican Republic, but that mix-up can be saved for another time. The saint countries of the Caribbean were suggested by JJ, and thanks to their suggestion, they will now be honoured as Name Explain's patron saint of the saint countries of the Caribbean. Do you have a good idea for someone that's name could be covered in a Name Explain video? If so, then please consider donating on Patreon. Just $1 a month helps keep the channel running and earns you a weekly chance to suggest somewhere to be turned into a video, and you too could be a Name Explain Patreon saint. Thank you to all my patrons who support Name Explain on a monthly basis. Name Explain depends on small monthly donations from fans like you to help keep the channel running. Just a small amount of $2 a month helps out in a huge way, grants you patron exclusive Name Explain extras, and gets your name here with all these awesome people. Thank you.